What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Self-Storage Income YouTube channel. Now, today we're going to dive into closing day. So you find a storage facility, you like it, you buy it. Now, what do you do? What do you do when you catch a tiger by a tail? That's really the question. This may be boring in a lot of aspects because we're going to go over a lot of lists, but this is the meat. This is what to do. So please like and subscribe, appease the YouTube gods. It helps us out and we can dive straight into the meat of it. All right, everybody. Closing day or changing day is a big time. That's when you're taking over ownership of the facility. There are a lot of things that need to go right, a lot of things that you can't drop the ball on. And I know that a lot of people, this is nerve-wracking, especially if you've never owned a storage facility before. So we're going to talk about it, but also in my book, Growing Wealth in Self-Storage, I literally have lists of the closing day or changing day checklists that you can actually walk through, and it talks about and it breaks down everything. So link below, you can go buy it and just walk through it. But we're going to have a lot of conversations about this. Changing day can be a nerve-wracking time for a few reasons. First of all, you got to make sure that the business is still operating and still going strong, that nothing falls apart. You also might not know everything going on in that facility. That means there may be some skeletons in the closet. This happens. It happens to us. And our checklist has evolved dramatically. And the checklist is only as good as a good due diligence list. Our due diligence list is ridiculous. It's like 11 pages. But it's because after changing day, we found out, and all the surprises that we find when taking over a facility, we now put into our due diligence list. The reason being is we just want to know, even if it's bad. Let me give you an example. One of the biggest surprises we ever got was on changing day. The last owner had told us that they had signed leases. We saw a few of them. And when we took it over, it turns out that there was actually no leases at all. 600 tenants. May have been like 500. But there was no leases within that storage facility. Now, this is a nightmare when you're taking over a storage facility. This means I don't have a legal agreement with the tenants and the people utilizing this asset. Big nightmare, and can set you back forever because now we have to get every single tenant under a lease, which why would they want to sign a lease? They're currently in it without a lease. That's good for them, not for us. Things like that pop up. We get burned. We learn from our mistakes, and that goes into our changing day checklist. When we're trying to understand changing day over, there's a few big ones. First of all, utilities. Any utilities that you have that you need to move over, this is just key. This is not one that can wait, right? You have to have internet. If you have bathroom, you have to have running water. You have to make sure that all of those get transferred into the new business name. But another big one is if you're buying a storage facility that has people employed or third parties, you've got to make sure that you get them under your contract and that you know if you're going to replace them, both employee or third parties, or if you're going to continue using them. You want to make sure you get all the information and data from them before you make that switch. So in our contracts, we put that we have the right to hire you on, but your current employer is basically firing you. Then when we take over the facility, we will hire you on under our contract, under our name. This is really important when dealing with employees. The reason it's important is because they're the ones that are running the storage facility. Now, if there's no employees there, you still have other third parties. Who's doing maintenance? Who's doing lock checks, cleaning out units? Who's doing online ads? Who has the website? Did you make sure that you put in your due diligence to actually get the website? And is it in your contract that you own the intellectual property online? If not, is that website going to die? Is there any traffic going to that? All of those things, you got to make sure that you know. So day one, when you walk into that facility, you can take new tenants, sign up leases, and you can onboard them onto your process. So a few of the things that I want to go over when doing this. Obviously, establishing banking is important and people get that. But two, a lot of people forget that you need to establish banking for your overall loan, but you also need to establish a till and a banking process. And if you get cash or take cash in, where are you going to go deposit it? So what's your local banking situation going to be? And how are you going to administer that? You need to ensure that all items that came with the sale of the property that were listed out regarding office, merchandise items, box, locks, anything else like that are on the property. You need to basically do an audit. So if you're retaining an employee, you need to ask the employee if there's any known maintenance issues. You need to start tackling anything that you can think of and not let things get backed up. You need to familiarize yourself with the filing systems. Where are the leases? How are the leases done? Are they recorded just on paper? Do you have them backed up? Are they on a hard drive? Are they on the cloud? Where is that? And how can we ensure that they are secure and that they are filled out properly? Very, very important. The next thing that we always want to do first day is we want to do a lock audit, okay? So we want to make sure that the property management system is showing what's actually happening in the facility. This seems like a no-brainer, but you'll actually be shocked. We've taken over so many facilities where the property management system, what's showing on their centralized system that's actually rented out and what's vacant doesn't match up when you do an audit. There's a few reasons for this. We've had everything from managers or third parties actually renting units and taking money on the side, or people in there having free units. There's a whole bunch of reasons, but when you do that lock audit and walk through and make sure what was sold to you and what is lining up is happening in reality. The next thing you need to do is look at all the delinquents and ensure that the property management system is aligned, that if there's anyone not paying, you are overlocking their lock and you get them paying immediately, or you evict them out immediately. Day one, do not wait. Day one, make sure you have the facility rekeyed. You want rekeyed, you want new locks, you want new overlocks, that the previous owner or any third parties or anybody else that had worked on that site does not have access to the site, does not have access to your overlocks because there's a master key. Rekey and retool that business. Auditing of the files on hand, looking for discrepancies in paperwork. This may be tedious, but you got to do it. You got to look, do we have license? If there's a vehicle, do we have the appropriate information required by the state associated with that vehicle? If there's delinquents, what are the delinquents contracts say? How long have they not been paying? And also what communication has been issued to those delinquents? Have they already received notice that they are delinquents? And when can the lien process start? As far as vendors go, you need to really be analyzing and looking at security cameras, monitoring systems, alarm systems, the power company, waste management systems, all of these things like waters, sprinklers, snow plowing. You can kind of go down a list of everything that you're going to need. You're going to need door repair, property maintenance, merchandise sales, mailbox, janitorial services, anything that facility needs for a day-to-day running, phone systems, advertising, all of that. Day one, you need to see those contracts and you need to make sure they're all still working for you. You don't know when that you take over, that contract ends with the prior owner, and I don't know what their agreements they may have had, and I don't know if they're ending those things. I don't want my alarm shut off. I don't want the advertising company to either stop, or maybe I do and hire another one, but you need to make sure that you understand who's doing what and that the facility will continue operating as normal so you can get new sales and clean it up. So, property management systems. If you're changing property management systems, it's important to make sure that the gate system that is being used to the facility is going to line up with the property management system. This happens a lot. People don't think about it. They're like, oh, I'm just going to use my own property management system. But the gate system that's currently being used won't align and work with the property management system. That's a big problem. You can lose access to people. You can not know who's coming in or out, and payment issues, and you may not be able to lock people out. You need to do a data transfer from the old property management system to your property management system. But then you need to compare the reports from the old property management system in the new one to make sure when everything was transferred over, all the data, all the information, that it was transferred over correctly. And your new property management system that you're working within is not running off information that is not correct for some reason when it was transferred over. This happens. Identify all accounts and all units and all information that needs to be collected and start immediately. And lots of times you need to incentivize people to sign new leases or collect information. And this can be things like we've done mailers and calls and said, if you don't get in and if you don't sign our new updated lease, starting next week, everyone that doesn't have the new lease signed is getting a 30% rate increase. It's amazing how many people come and sign when before asking people and telling people they don't want to show up. You need to send out an announcement of the ownership change, which should also include changing of rules, regulations, hours, anything with the facility and how you're going to run it. Now, we've done before that we didn't change the facility name until after we gave massive rate increases to the tune of like 65%. So we gave a 65% rate increase day one, switched over all the systems, and then after things had cooled down and everybody got not so mad a few months later, then we switched over our brand and name. It worked, mainly because they went online and they tore us apart on the local listing, which after we changed the name and the brand and everything, we took that listing down and now we weren't hit on Google or Yahoo or anybody else on reviews. Now that includes changing the signage, okay? So the signage on the ownership, making sure that it matches with your online presence, and then putting up the rules, posting notices and everything around the facility so your tenants see that it's under new management and they're fully aware of the rules with the facility. Website change needs to connect with your property management system and needs to correlate with your new pricing changes. You don't want people coming in, renting a unit and saying there was an old pricing and I want to be held to that because that's false advertising, and then you're giving up on rent or anything like that. You want that changed immediately and you want it to reflect the new pricing, and it needs to be tied in with your property management system, and they need to be functioning so that you don't have mistakes or you're giving people prices that shouldn't be given. We've had a facility that for some reason with the property management system and online rentals, it was giving people away like free units. Still don't know what happened there. Make sure that kind of stuff doesn't happen. You need to make sure that the facility is clean. You need to make sure that you have access to all equipment, snow plows, printers, everything else, and make sure that it's all in working condition. Once again, the big thing with changing day and all of these things that we've talked about is it should coordinate within the due diligence that you've asked to receive, and it needs to happen immediately, and you need to be aware before day one if there's going to be any problems so that you can continue operating that facility as normal, effectively and efficiently as possible so you can increase the value, increase rental rates immediately. This is a very important part. Now, there will be skeletons in the closets. There's going to be things that doesn't matter what you do, you don't know about. That's okay. The goal is to find out as quick as possible. Anyone that's getting free units, major delinquencies, and taking care of problems immediately. Do not wait. Do not slowly implement. Go fast. Rate increases, clean up, get delinquencies out. The faster you can take care of those problems, the faster you set the stage for how the facility will be run, operate, and the tenants will know the new rules. Some will leave. That's okay. Let them leave. That means you can get new tenants in that are now aligned with how you want to run your facility. All right, everybody. I hope this was helpful. We have another video on due diligence, so you can check that one out, which is also another list. Once again, like and subscribe. It makes all the difference, and it appeases the YouTube gods. Before you leave, if you want to learn more about self-storage, pick up the best-selling self-storage book. That's me. It's the playbook to self-storage. You can pick it up on Amazon, link below. I go over case studies, actual deals done, how to market, how to run, how to find deals, and analyze markets. Check it out.